Good evening, all, and welcome to the Huddy Hui live on Huddy Sports. Many thanks to our sponsor, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Services. If you need any plumbing advice or drain laying advice, he's your man you need to call. As you can probably see, it's only myself tonight. Adam Julian is not very well lately. He's just spending a bit of time at home recuperating. It's got nothing to do with alcohol consumption. But our guest tonight has represented not only King Country, the Central Vikings team that was up for a few years, also Wellington Lions and the Hurricanes, and also was part of the All Blacks for one test and one game. And now he is the Wellington Lions assistant coach in charge of the forwards that are going very well. Good evening, Dion Waller. Thank you for joining the Huddy Hui tonight. The Wellington Lions were in a bit of a fight for 60 minutes on Sunday against Counties Manukau. And then, of course, in the last 20 minutes, the Wellington Lions ran away with the match. But an interesting statistic, you look after the forwards, Dion, 16 of the 33 tries for the Wellington Lions this year have come from the forwards.
Evening, Brad. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, well, got to go forward before you can go wide, mate. Look, we've got lots of talent from 1 to 23, or the whole squad. We like to share the tries around, but yeah, every player takes the opportunity, mate, of set piece, open play. And at the moment, forwards are going really well.
Yeah, and of course, the important trophy on the line there. It's the fourth time that Wellington has won it. Counties Manukau haven't won it yet, which is the John Alomu Memorial Trophy, and it's a very impressive trophy indeed. And of course, you got to play with the great man, John Alomu. Tell us the John Alomu story, and what it meant to you presenting his young sons a Wellington jersey in the weekend?
Oh, look, Jonah was a good team man. Probably one of the biggest memories, us forwards are not the superstars, but the backs are. Jonah was the big superstar, but he was really humble. I remember when he had the Nissan Patrol with all the speakers kitted out, and we're at, I think it was the Hut Wreck one time, doing some laps of the field. And you could hear this car coming down the road because he was going to join us, and he ended up parking at the other side of the field and jammed out some music. And we're glad that while we're training, it was on the other side of the field. But geez, it was loud. After training, we had a water up, and I remember he invited, I think it was Pucks and Flutie and Mike Edwards at the time, who didn't really have big apparel sponsors, and opened up the boot and said, grab a bag and help yourself, full of bootload, full of Adidas kit. Generous man. Sorely missed. Awesome to play on the weekend. It was James Blackwell, our captain, that presented those jerseys, and it was the night before the game. And people were saying, that game was close, and you talk to Kieran Reid and all the boys after the game, it was like a test match for them, because Jonah means a lot in counties as well. So I think it was the last 20 minutes when Xavier put on that step and scored the try. We actually took the lead, and Counties were in it for the last 20. It means a lot to us as well, and we're happy to bring it, keep it in Wellington.
The Wellington Lions have 2 wins now against North Harbour and Counties, but 2 losses against Canterbury and Otago, and an important game this Saturday against Tasman, pretty much 3 versus 4 on the premiership table. And it's been played at Jerry Collins Stadium in Porirua. And here's an interesting question that came from Adam Julian. He's asked this one. 10 of the lowest 20 attendances in Sky Stadium have been Lions matches in the last 3 years. Dion, why do you think that is? And do you think matches should be held at more suburban grounds for the Wellington Lions?
I just think there's no more biffo, Brad. People like coming to rugby to see fights, and they're just slapping now. But no, I don't know. Is it COVID? End of the day, the boys still love running out into the stadium. It's home. But to bring it to the suburbs, especially Jerry Collins Stadium, the crowd's going to be closer. Once again, it's Leo's themed it. There's a bit about Jerry there, and we're getting a lot of old boys coming in to present the jerseys at Captain's Run, and listening to their stories. And this week, Tamati's bringing a lot of boys that played with Jerry and played for Norths and played for Wellington. So, yeah, boys are up for it. Respect to Tasman, obviously, the team that, the boys we lost in the final last year. Everyone's vying for a top 4 spot. Come along on Saturday and see a good battle.
Yeah, it should be a fantastic game, and also a good local crowd there at Jerry Collins Stadium. Good rugby culture out there with the Northern United Rugby Club, second in the Jubilee this year. And, the history of the Wellington Lions has been some impressive players. And the years, Jerry Collins was playing, he really got the crowd on their feet every time he did those smashing tackles and strong runs. So that game on Saturday, we'll be looking forward to that one. It should be an interesting clash. But we were just talking off air, Dion, about the Mitre 10 Cup. It's been really a competitive season this year between not only just the Premiership sides, but the Championship side. And of course, Southland have really surprised a few teams this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good boys down there. We've got Nico Manina, that was in our high performance and under-19s last year, that's gone down there too. So we're watching him closely. But yeah, started with the Hudson Aurora too, with all the All Blacks playing, and well done to Taranaki for the start, for taking the shield, because now it's been tossed around and we get obviously focusing on Saturday. Next week's a big game for us. But yeah, a lot of people are saying there's some upsets, but no, these teams, the smaller teams, are beating some big teams and are deserving by winning those games with playing some good rugby. And there's some good players out there and some good young ones coming through.
And let's look back at your rugby career, Dion. When did you start playing your rugby career? Back when you were a young man, and also talk about your pathway through rugby right up to the professional era when you got in that All Black environment.
I'm a King Country boy. That's where my roots are, and yeah, it's different rugby back in our day to today. But yeah, King Country hard. Went through all the age groups. Then decided to go to Hamilton, to Polytech up there, and played rugby up in the Waikato. But given an opportunity, once I made New Zealand under-21s, to come back to King Country when Stan Meads contacted me. Man, I'm getting into the memory bank now. And Stan, obviously brother of Colin, was a big name, and to be rung up by him, it was an honour to play in a team when Stan Meads rung me. Played a couple of seasons back then in First Division. Super Rugby had started, and obviously a young skinny Waller was liked by Frank Oliver, who was the coach of the Hurricanes. So flying down from King Country, coming down to Wellington to the base of the Hurricanes at Huddy Hui at the Police College was the start of my professional career. And that's probably, built relationships with the Wellington boys at that time. King Country obviously didn't stay up in First Division. Grounds weren't big enough and obviously had no money. So then I decided to come down to the Central Vikings, which was Hawke's Bay, Manawatu combined. 2 good years there. Won the second division, but once again couldn't go up to first. And that time decided to come down to Wellington, where home is now, and I'm loving it. All Blacks, it's a dream. I owe Brad Thorne a beer. Obviously, he didn't want to make the All Blacks that year, and so they had a lottery on locks, and my name was drawn out. But to go on tour with good mates like Roger Randall, and was a buzz for me. Bringing home the kit to give to my mates. Yeah, I loved it. And now, coaching in Wellington, played at Axeman, at Tawa, started my coaching career at Tawa, and then moved on to the 19s. And obviously, Leo Crowley gave me the opportunity to work with himself and Tamati with the Lions this year. And who knows going forward what's going to happen, mate.
Oh, exactly right. And speaking about your coaching career, of course, you've been a long-time age group rugby coach. What do you make of recruiting in first 15 rugby? And does it matter what college you go to play rugby?
No, it doesn't. And it's a lot of bullshit around it that you have to be at a top college. When Flukes and myself took the first year of the 19s, and then Eugene Smith the second year with Steve Sorialo and TK, we made sure that we had spotters out there looking at all the colleges, and we took a highlight was taking a kid. There was a highlight and a low light. We had to decide between Caleb Kavambati, who was at Scots College, or Kalen Muller, who went to Rongotai, and he was playing at Paraplum, and obviously Caleb was at Tawa. But we had to look at the skill set and, capability of learning, and obviously Caden pipped Caleb a little bit. But people were saying, but he went to that school and it's bloody crap. We do look for rough diamonds. Ricky and myself were rough diamonds. I was from the King Country. So any kids listening to this, especially parents are the ones that are pushing them. I know Rick at the High Performance and Leo's pushing it hard. We want these kids to focus on an education. You can't go to varsity. There's apprenticeships out there. That's your plan A. And if you're spotted for rugby, you'll be picked up. But to answer your question, no, you don't have to go to a top school. We're pushing stay local, saves a bit of petrol money. But if it's for education, 100% do it.
Exactly right. You remember Conrad Smith, went to Francis Douglas and never got played a lot of age group games until he came down to Wellington and played for OBU and got picked up there. And that's just an example of, players that don't need to go to the best schools to prove that they're a good rugby player. That's a fantastic response, particularly for a young college student out there and parents as well. It doesn't matter what school you go to. It's important that rugby, where you are, is paramount. Of course, Dion, how did your background influence your approach to rugby and coaching? And who were your mentors growing up?
Shit, how did my background? Well, mate, I don't have a background in education. I went to school for mates and technology stuff, woodwork, metalwork. I was pretty open to the 19s boys of dyslexia. I can't pronounce big words. I tend to panic a bit. Obviously, you might have seen in my first interview on TV. And I felt comfortable with rugby. That's where I've been around rugby people. I think it was Dave Banks. He was always telling me your degree's in rugby. You're good with people. You're a father figure. You learn to be a good coach. You'll help kids develop. You like pushing education. So just listening to people like that, obviously it made me feel confident that, hey, should have some good business people and good bastards are telling me that's where I should go. I listened. So obviously the opportunity came up at Tawa to be an RDO and meeting good people, engaged in rugby development, youth, and I've just carried on. Passionate about it. But I should have listened to Mum way back though and got an education.
Of course, you just mentioned Tawa Rugby Club there. When did your association start with Tawa, and why did they become a contender when they weren't previously? And how was your key involvement there?
Yeah, well, firstly, I come down from Central Vikings as a Hurricane, so I'm actually a Marist man. College I was Marist and Taupo and Palmy Marist. But it was allocation that got me to the X-Men, which I was happy with because that's a proud club too. And, met a good bugger as in Dean Gifford and Brilly and the boys and Chris Motu and Arthur Whamoiana, good mates. And then played 2 years there. And then a good mate at Tawa, Shane Carter, had an injury and was getting a bit down. And so I said, I'll come to Tawa, mate, and we'll connect there and get you back on track, which happened. What else, mate?
So, of course, prior to being the assistant coach of the Wellington Lions, you were head coach of the Wellington under-19s for 2 years and had great success there. And I remember when you spoke at St. Bernard's College, you spoke about this jersey, and you spoke about what the 04 means. The old 04 and the circles as well, and then also snipers at the back with also the colours on the sleeves. Tell us about this rugby jersey and what it meant to the program.
Sorry, mate.
Yep.
Just to carry on that, the coaching.
Yes.
Tawa were too many concussions, Brad. Tawa were always in the Hudson Cup, and end of the day, it's reality and truthful that boys that couldn't make Norths, the Premier side cruised down to Tawa because they wanted to play Premier rugby. And, there were some good coaches there, Graham Ross, and they were battling. And I probably thought, I could join up with Steve Suialo, who was playing at the time. They just won Hardin Cup in 2012. I played at the club. I was the RDO there. Dave Banks offered me the job, which was great, who got me into it, obviously. And we just, like I'm about to mention about the 04, it was just standards and values, I'm old school. And, the boys wore their number ones to the games and after the games. And we went upstairs and mingled with all the old timers. Fitness was the key. People were surprised that we brought in a bit of discipline into the game, which I didn't have back in my day. We had a good roster, but we had belief. I don't think we had any Wellington representative players, but we had a real good culture. We had mums and dads coming and kids to support the club, and it was standards and values. In those years there were no dickheads, and obviously they got rewarded for the Jubilee Cup, and they've won it again since. So the blueprints there at Tawa. Moving on to the 19s, I do remember the speech at St. Bernard's. I think I had a mean sweaty back that day, mate, because I was real nervous having to talk to, I think it's 450 boys.
Oh, you had them all engaged there. It was a fantastic speech.
But the 04, it come up with, Dustin Bradle, who's the manager and a real good mate. We need our own identity, and obviously 04 is the area code of Wellington, and the 3 circles represent the Hutt Valley, the city, and Porirua. And that goes back to the question, you don't have to go to big schools to make it. We're looking over the 3 cities. We wanted a bit of a theme, and obviously going to war and prepping for war is part of New Zealand's DNA alongside rugby. Dustin at Design Signs is an excellent graphic designer and obviously came up with those logos. And he mentioned about the sergeant stripes on the side, and how about we have every club colour incorporated in that design. And the boys look sharp. They look sharp at tournament. They were passionate about it. They engaged in the culture and the theme. But it brought us all together. The hardest thing with 19s is breaking down the kids coming from stronger schools who are confident, and the kids coming out of the lower schools that are not confident. That was the biggest challenge, but we found the last 2 years this sort of theme worked really well, and we went to tournament as one team, which was 04.
Dion, it's been 20 years since Wellington last won the NPC Division 1 title. What has made it hard for Wellington to win the title? They've been in the final so many times. And another quirky one from Adam. Would the Dion Waller intercept try be a yellow card in today's game?
Is it 20 years? And they've been to, obviously, Wellington's been a good side. They'll beat them by a better team in the final. But to get to a final, you've got to be a good team. And consistently, Wellington has been. I'm looking at a picture now of us in the changing room. I'll actually pull it out, mate.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
There's that.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah. I only showed you because there's 3 people in that photo that's passed away.
Yeah.
Morne Vandermeer, who was prop that come over from South Africa. Obviously Jonah and Jerry. But that's 20 years ago, yeah, and they've nearly won it, obviously, been to the finals. And every year I know, and especially this year and last year, that jersey goes on and the boys are aiming for that medal. It hasn't changed and it never will. And we definitely, as a management group, get the feeling it's not confidence. It's just it's quite freaky, as an ex-player turning into a coach, that there's something special going to happen this year. And we know there's a lot of hard work to be done. We can't be playing games and finishing off in the last 20 minutes, but it's all about peaking, Brad. And we're trending up, which is bloody good. What was the other question, mate?
The other question was a one from Adam. Would the Dion Wallet intercept try be a yellow card in today's game?
Yeah. I don't know, mate. The rest probably too scared to pull me up nowadays. I mean, there's some... Yeah, no comment, mate. I was never offside.
You're always offside.
Poor Honus, but he never liked me. Should have dropped him at the 19s tournament.
So speaking about one of your key players this year, who's actually now part of the All Black squad, is Duplessis Karefi, and that's a fantastic honour for Duplessis, who has had a stellar year this year, not only with the Hurricanes, but also captaining Wellington. What does he bring to the All Black environment that a Lachlan Boshier doesn't do?
Well, all our boys are special, mate. Stoops is a captain. Blackie's now a captain. What does he bring? He brings the desire to wear the All Black jersey, which will be energy. He brings a good skill set around physicality, around the tackle, the clean out. He brings a good mindset with mental toughness. Also, that brain where to take on moves and structure and adhere to it. He's got an accurate pass. He's got a good skill set. He can take line out ball, but he's asking me, Dion, put me on the line out. I'm like, no, you're better out there, mate. You're better as our ripper and to pass. Yeah, Lachlan Boshier. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of chat around it. He was a good over Aotearoa Super Rugby at getting over the ball. But yeah, Plum's obviously wanting a physicality and maybe someone probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard, mate. They're two good young kids. So I'll be honest, I'm not going to say one's better than the other. I'm not a guy to pop people's dreams and that. Both very good players. And they obviously, Dukes is there now, and we're so wrapped for him, so wrapped for his family, because it's just every kid's dream, and I hope Lachlan gets there as well, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer, Dion, and we're just lucky in New Zealand at the moment. We've got so many flankers around. It's just hard to pick the best at the moment. And
we'll need lots of good youthful flankers coming through the system, because the way they play now, Brad, it's so physical and concussions, and hey, I'm sure if you're 8th in line, you'll get there. I mean, I was probably 15th in line to be an All Black, and lots of injuries, and Brad deciding to stay in Aussie, I got there. So, but Dupes, we're wrapped for him. If he's listening, 3XL polo and some shorts would be great, mate.
So just two more questions to go. This one is around the role of lock. Of course, that was your position playing. How has the position of lock changed from your day to the present day?
You've got to have brains now, Brad. You've got to be disciplined. It's very technical now. They say, it's all about detail, and a lock's got to be able to tackle, run with the ball, stick to a system, and be a dominant tackler, dominant ball runner. He's got to be accurate at clean out. It's all the same stuff we did, but there's so much coaching that goes on in those certain skill sets. You know, you got to be a tough bastard, you know, mentally. We like to see, it's probably all players, that you're working off the field and you're in a good mental state, and you're doing yoga and your nutrition's up there, being a true professional. Got to have good aerial skills. And probably, hey, you've got to be a good listener and be able to apply, which is, you know, having a good attitude. I suppose it hasn't changed. It's just you get more coaching now, more detailed coaching and more feedback and video analysis to become a good player, you know. Where nowadays we just, you know, if you received a can in the change rooms by your coach, you're like, sweet, I must have had a good game, you know.
So this final question, Dion, for tonight is, outside of rugby coaching and rugby in general, what are your interests and talents outside of the rugby game?
Well, it's still rugby, obviously. You know, being a good family man, myself and Sasha with our 3 kids, getting out there, a bit of hunting, definitely diving and fishing. Missing the whitebaiting at the moment. It's pretty full on coaching, but also run an academy out of Bishop Bayard College called Pride School of Rugby. Just giving a bit back to the youth. You know, Steve Sorialo and Sam are helping me there at the moment, because obviously I'm coaching, but going to ramp it up after Mitre 10 Cup, and looking at making the academy a bit bigger and for all kids that want to be a part of it, and just helping kids, or using the academy as a vehicle to make better kids for our community. You know, and especially out in Porirua, and hopefully pushing them onto a pathway of getting a job, becoming a builder, an electrician, just becoming a good kid. And I'm seeing some real good success there at the moment. There's some fantastic girls and boys at Bishop Bayard, and I really enjoy it, because you know, there's some good players there that other schools are trying to approach, and you know, we're keeping them there, and the school's helping out with breakfast in the morning. And yeah, it makes me feel good. If that's stressful with the Lions stuff, I de-stress, just go and turn up on a Wednesday, 6:30 in the morning, and go back to the happy place.
Well, that's awesome, Dion, giving back to the game and also helping out young ones, and particularly other schools as well, particularly Bishop Bayard. That's a fantastic program. Dion, it's been fantastic having you as our guest on the Huddy Hui tonight. Go well on Saturday against Tasman out there at Jerry Collins, and the Lions certainly got a bit of momentum now, and hopefully we'll see them in the final.
Cheers, Brad. Thanks for the opportunity.
No worries.
Really enjoyed it.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Dion. And that was our guest, Dion Waller, tonight. And you know, as being a professional rugby player at Lock as well, and also giving back to the game of coaching, he really is an inspiration to any young player that just wants to give it a go. And Dion's that man who can show you how to believe in yourself and also to push further in the game of rugby union. Of course, there is plenty of rugby on, as well as the Wellington Lions. This Saturday, there was 2 Wellington under-85 teams in the National Under-85 semi-finals. Of course, Avalon have to travel up to Auckland to play their semi-final, where Eastbourne host the Eden Lizards at Evans Bay Park at midday in their semi-final. So there's potential for 2 Wellington teams to be in the final of the National Under-85 KG tournament. Be a fantastic result indeed. Tomorrow night on Huddy Sports, we're actually bringing you some water polo tomorrow night out at Hui Pool in Lower Hutt. 4 junior water polo games there, kicking off at 7:10 p.m. So tune in for that. That is the Huddy Hui tonight here on Huddy Sports. Many thanks to our guest, Dion Waller, wishing the Wellington Lions all the best against Tasman on Saturday out at Jerry Collins Stadium. Ciao for now.